Welcome to your Barbados Today evening news update for Wednesday, March 6. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Much ado about nothing. Attorney General Dale Marshall says there is no need for alarm over the latest travel advisory coming out of the United States. The advisory, dated March 5th on the U.S. Bureau of Consular Affairs website and making the rounds on social media, listed a number of areas in Barbados that its citizens should avoid. Americans are urged not to visit Crab Hill in St. Lucie, city areas of the Ivy, Nelson Street, Wellington Street, as well as Maxwell Coast Road, and to use increased caution in Black Rock, Deacons, Carrington Village, Greenfields, New Orleans, and The Pine, and even some entertainment spots. However, the AG says the U.S. issues travel advisories for each country as a matter of course, and Barbados still enjoys the lowest risk assessment.
I've seen the document that is circulating presently on social media. The United States issues travel advisories on every single country in the world. And while the term travel advisory connotes some dire warning, it is nothing more than exactly that, a travel advisory. And as I said, the U.S. publishes a travel advisory for every single country in the world. The lowest level of risk is represented by level 1. The highest level of risk is represented by level 4. Barbados is in the category of level 1. Okay? So we are in the category of the lowest level of risk. So we're in the same category as countries like Bermuda, while Jamaica and Trinidad are at level 2. And all that this travel advisory says is exercise normal caution.
Stiff penalties are on the cards for consumers who fail to comply with the ban of single-use plastics. The warning from Minister of Maritime Affairs and the Blue Economy Cook Humphrey as the country gets set to implement the ban on April 1. The minister made the comments earlier today during a media sensitization workshop at his ministry's Shanox Christchurch headquarters.
We've decided that to use styrofoam or any of the items that we've banned as of April 1st will carry very strict penalties. While I will not speak to the details of the penalties because we will debate the legislation in Parliament over the next few weeks, and the legislation is coming to give effect to all that we've said over the last few weeks, and while I do not wish to say specifically what the penalties are, suffice it to say that these penalties are very, very, very stiff. For persons who determine that even though the government has made a decision that it no longer wishes to engage in this country in people supplying single-use plastics, especially in the process of a trade, if people determine that they want to do it, then they will have to face the penalties of it.
The minister also issued a firm warning to wholesalers and retailers who attempt to exploit consumers by raising prices on alternative products.
But we will spend so much time and money educating the public as to what these products should cost. And we will make life so difficult for the people who haven't tried to abide by the new rules. One, because I know there's still going to be some people who may try a thing, very few of them may still try to import a product and pass it off as one of the products that fit under the standards that we're trying to establish. That's not going to happen.
There needs to be a greater level of communication among stakeholders in the education sector, so says Education Minister Santia Bradshaw, following a tour of the Milton Lynch and St. Bartholomew's Primary School this morning.
One of the issues is that parents want to be engaged in some cases at these institutions to assist the school plan. The ministry may have its own priorities when an officer visits the site, but we need to be able to communicate better with everyone who has to work within the institution, and certainly who sends their children to an institution, to determine priorities. A lot of people are prepared to wait for things to be done in the summer program, and there are things that we can identify in the short term that need to be done, and those are the things that we have to do. We have to improve communication so people know what is practical, what is possible, and also what are the things that they themselves can assist the school and the Ministry of Education in being able to complete. But for too long we've been reliant on the ministry, and I don't think people accept the number of school plans that the ministry covers and that the resources are limited. So I think there's been an an ad hoc approach to how we deal with maintenance, but more importantly, an ad hoc approach in terms of how we communicate to the people who are going to be affected by the use of these facilities as well.
Minister Bradshaw got a first-hand look at the situation facing the Milton Lynch Primary School a day after parents of students there staged a protest over environmental issues.
So coming out of Milton Lynch, I've seen the parents have agreed, rather, that they will be more actively involved in assisting the ministry, certainly, and the school generally, in being able to resolve a number of the outstanding issues. So if we can provide, in some instances, with the paint, they're prepared to paint the classrooms. If we can remove the prefab building on the premises, which we said we would, they're prepared to work with the schools, teachers, in relation to developing an agricultural program. But what I've also said to them is to work with us to be able to cultivate a curriculum, particularly because there are young boys there, that suits their needs as parents, but also suits the needs of the students. So there are a few vacant classrooms, which I believe we can now utilize to do more one-on-one teaching with the students.
A Beckwith Street, St. Michael family is in mourning following the death of Chad Williams. The 28-year-old lost his life tragically last night when the motorcycle he was riding was involved in a collision with a route taxi at Haywoods Road, St. Peter. His heartbroken sister, Chantel Davidson, has been remembering him.
A bad person or nothing, so my brother never did that, but we
all require him. Let she sit down, she don't feel too good, you know.
Nobody can say that my brother respect nobody, not up to this morning. Somebody told me that same thing, that he never respect nobody from here. My brother was always smiling at what my brother, you know, with his little gold cap. Everybody like my brother. Everybody, all people that growing up, that's us that I grew up with. Right now, that got the whole neighborhood just shook up like that. Everybody. I can't believe my brother gone.
In sports, West Indies batsman Hayley Matthews will lead Barbados in the Regional Women's Championship, which bowls off in Guyana next week. The 20-year-old is the current West Indies vice-captain, having been a fixture in the Caribbean side since her debut in 2014. She takes over the helm of the national squad from fast bowler Sharika Selman, who will serve as vice-captain.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, the Bahamas has made a commitment to become world leaders in the eradication of HIV. So says Health Minister Dwayne Sands, as local health officials continue to monitor developments where an HIV-positive man in Britain has become the second known adult worldwide to be functionally cured of the virus.
Even though this is landmark, it is certainly not ready for prime time, and it is certainly not the approach that we would want to take for people, everybody suffering with HIV. But I will say that the Bahamas has made the commitment to try to be the first country to eradicate HIV in the world. And so we have now looked at whether we can become once again the world leader. The Bahamas was once the world leader in vertical transmission or mother-to-child transmission of HIV. We kind of lost some ground. We now believe that with modifying our approach to HIV, to make sure that everybody is tested, to make sure that everybody that is tested has access to therapy, and that the therapy suppresses the virus, that by certainly 2030, we believe that the Bahamas, if not the first country, certainly among the first countries to eliminate HIV as a scourge.
And finally, International media is reporting that a flight from Barbados to London's Gatwick Airport was met by authorities on arrival after passengers and crew reported feeling unwell mid-flight. Sussex police reported that emergency services greeted the plane when it touched down on Wednesday morning following the 8-hour journey from Bridgetown. As a precaution, the aircraft was quarantined and those on board examined by ambulance personnel. The passengers have since continued on their journey. Reports are that the passengers boarded the plane after disembarking from a cruise ship. And that's news. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good evening.